One Star Wars movie a year. That's Disney's game plan. After all, in 2016 alone, they're already asking you to see 3 animated movies, 2 Marvel movies, a live-action fairy tale, and 2 family fantasy movies. So just look at Star Wars as the cherry on top of that sweet, towering, expensive sundae. Yum? But for those who like to know what's being served in advance or have a more discerning appetite, today we're going to take a look at the rapidly expanding Star Wars cinematic universe and what's in store after The Force Awakens has kicked things off. First off, it's important to understand that the SWCU runs on 2 separate tracks. The main films are doled out in trilogies. We've had the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and now we're on the sequel trilogy. Kathleen Kennedy, Steven Spielberg's assistant turned producer turned president of Lucasfilm, has specified that the trilogies focus on the Skywalker family. Luke Skywalker was the focus of the original trilogy, his father and eventual nemesis the focus of the prequel trilogy, and well, we'll see which Skywalker is next in the spotlight. Episode 7 is just hitting theaters now, while Episode 8, currently filming, will debut May 26, 2017, and Episode 9 sometime in 2019. Looper's Rian Johnson is writing and directing Episode 8, while Jurassic World's Colin Trevorrow will be building on Johnson's story for Episode 9. Now, as you can clearly see, this release schedule, which doesn't even allow time to gauge audience reaction before beginning production on the next film, still leaves one-year gaps, which simply won't do. On the one hand, Disney wants you in the habit of going to see a Star Wars film every year, but even beyond that, Star Wars needs to stay relevant. And in today's Hollywood, audiences expect franchises to have constant output across all different types of mediums. More on that in a moment. As I've said before, we're in the middle of a Hollywood arms race here, and Star Wars is expected to be one BFG. Oh wait, that's another movie from Disney. So enter the Star Wars anthology films, which have now been rebranded as the more family-friendly Star Wars stories. These movies can take place at any time and focus on any character or event. In fact, Kennedy wants pitches for Star Wars stories to be inventive, bring in different genres, think outside the box. Yet at the same time, they are making a Han Solo origin story, a Boba Fett movie, and there's even talk of an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, because duh! Although thanks to Josh Trank imploding with Fantastic Four, Boba Fett won't hit theaters until 2020 at the earliest. So while anything can happen in a Star Wars story, here's what's actually confirmed to be happening so far. Next year, Rogue One will debut on December 16, 2016, a Black Hawk Down-style movie that covers the Rebel mission to steal the Death Star plans. You know, the ones that are integral to the very first movie. That film features a global cast and is directed by Godzilla's Gareth Edwards. Then Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the hottest directing duo working today, sorry Wachowskis, will direct that Han Solo origin story, a comedic action-adventure film that will not star Harrison Ford. Currently, literally anyone who wants to audition for the film can and is, even though it won't hit theaters until May 25, 2018. Phil Lord, Chris Miller, why don't they just make it animated with Harrison Ford's voice? Oh right, the Clone Wars. Then, as I noted just moments earlier, today's movie franchises are expected to be everywhere, and luckily Disney is its own empire. Marvel Comics is currently publishing several Star Wars titles, Disney XD is airing the animated series Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars characters have been introduced to Disney Infinity, and both Disneyland and Disney's Hollywood Studios are getting a Star Wars land. And perhaps after Marvel's incredibly successful collaboration with Netflix, Star Wars could debut a show there as well, or on ABC. So, do you think Star Wars will be able to compete with today's other cinematic universes? What would be your pitch for a Star Wars story? And most importantly, are you down for this much Star Wars in your life? Be sure to share your thoughts down below. I'm Grace Randolph, and be sure to stay tuned for special Star Wars coverage celebrating the release of The Force Awakens. Here's some you can watch right now.